everyone, and welcome to week 5 of the Gift of Christmas Crochet Along. This week's block is called Save the Best for Last, and I really do feel like I've saved the best for last because I love making starbursts. Let's get started. I've got my yarn for my centre and bow. This is my round 2 colour, my round 3 colour. This is for round 4 and 5, and I think I might be playing Yarn Chicken this week. And this is my background colour. And I've also got my trusty 4mm hook, my scissors, and my stitch marker. So I'm going to start my starburst in the same way as we did the granny square in week 1. So that's with a slip knot and 3 chains. And then I'm going to slip stitch under both loops of the first chain. So my hook under both loops, and then yarn over and pull through all the loops to join. And this forms the little central ring that we're going to work our stitches into. And then I'm going to chain 2, and this counts as my first treble crochet stitch. And now I'm going to make 15 more treble crochet into that ring, so I have 16 treble crochet in total. And I'm working over the tail once again. And this is so I can use that to pull my centre ring closed. So that's 3, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I've got my 2 chains that count as my first stitch, and then I've got 15 treble crochet into the ring, so that's my 16. And I'm going to fasten off this time. I'm going to ignore the 2 chains, and I'm going to put my hook under both loops of the first proper treble crochet and slip stitch. So pull the yarn through, and then I can snip off the yarn, pull through to fasten off, and here is the centre of my starburst. And if the centre looks a little bit gappy, you've got quite a few stitches worked into this, you can just flip over and use the tail that you've worked over as a drawstring to just pull that centre tight. I've got my round 2 colour, and I'm going to join this into the top of one of the treble crochets, doesn't matter which one. So I'm not joining between the treble crochets, I'm joining right into the top of one of the stitches. So I'm going to put my hook into the top of the stitch and pull through a loop. And in the pattern, it says to start this round with 3 chains. And here's a little tip for starbursts and starting with chains. I'm going to make my first chain with the yarn from the ball and the tail, and this is just going to anchor the yarn into place. So both yarns over the hook and pull through to make the first chain. And now I can drop the tail and just continue with the yarn from the ball. So I'm going to make 2 more chains with the yarn from the ball. So here are my 3 chains, and these 3 chains count as a treble crochet and 1 chain. So the first 2 count as a treble crochet, and then the third one counts as a chain. And now I'm going to yarn over, treble crochet into the next stitch, and then make a chain. And I'm going to repeat this all the way around my center, so a treble crochet followed by a chain, until I have 16 treble crochet. So I'm working my way round, and I've reached the point where the tail is now. And the advantage of slip stitching into the top of the first proper treble and not slip stitching into the 2 chains, as lots of patterns say, the advantage is you don't have an extra stitch or a ghost stitch that puts your stitch count out. Every stitch around the center is a proper stitch, so you won't get all the way round and find out that you've put too many treble crochets in. So I'm going to put a stitch into this side of the tail, and into the other side of the tail, and you'll just find that it gives a much neater finish. So here is my 15th treble crochet followed by a chain, and to finish the round I'm going to slip stitch under both loops of the second chain. So these 2 chains counted as my first treble crochet. And I'm going to fasten off. And here is my round 2 complete. I've got my round 3 colour now, and I'm going to join this in the chain space between any of the trebles. So this time we're not going into the top of a stitch, we're going into the chain space between treble stitches. So I'm going to pull through a loop, and this round starts with 1 chain, and I'm going to make the chain with the yarn from the tail and the ball to hold the yarn in place. So now I can drop the tail, and I'm just working with the yarn from the ball. And we have a new stitch this time, and it's called a 3 treble cluster stitch. And this is 3 treble crochets, but they're all joined together to make a cluster stitch. I'll show you how to do it. So we're going to start with a yarn over and pull up a loop as you would with a normal treble crochet, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So that's my first treble crochet, but instead of completing the treble crochet, I'm going to make another one. So yarn over, insert my hook and pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So that's my second treble crochet, and I'm going to do it again. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So I now have 3 partially completed treble crochets. I'm ignoring my chain for now, and I'm going to yarn over and pull through all of the loops on the hook to complete the stitch. So this is my 3 treble crochets made into a cluster. And now we have 2 chains, and I'm going to repeat this in the next space. So I'll show you that stitch again. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So that's my first treble. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So that's my second treble, and then yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So that's my third treble, and then yarn over and pull through all of the loops on the hook. And there is my cluster stitch. And I'm going to do 2 more chains, and then a 3 treble cluster followed by 2 chains in each space around my centre. I've got my 16 treble cluster stitches, and I'm going to finish the round with 2 chains, and then I'm going to slip stitch under both loops at the top of the first cluster stitch. And I can fasten off. And now we're going to turn the starburst into a square. Here's my colour for round 4 and 5. I'm going to join it in the same way as I did before. So hook into the 2 chain space between cluster stitches and pull up a loop. And the round starts with 2 chains. So I'm going to make the first chain with the yarn from the ball and the tail, and then drop the tail and just work with the yarn from the ball to make my second chain. So these 2 chains count as my first treble crochet, and I'm going to make 2 more treble crochet into that same 2 chain space. And I'm now going to make 3 treble crochet in each of the next 2 spaces. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And in the next space, I'm going to make a corner, and we have a new stitch, and it's called a double treble crochet. And to make this stitch, I'm going to yarn over twice. So I'm going to wrap the yarn around my hook twice. So that's 1, that's a normal yarn over, but I'm going to do it again. So yarn over again. So I have 3 loops on my hook before I start the stitch. And then I'm going to put my hook into the next space and pull up a loop. So now I have 4 loops on my hook, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the remaining 2 loops. And what it does is it makes a longer stitch, and this is what is going to help turn your circle into a square. So I have to do this 2 more times. So yarn over twice, insert into the same space and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and again yarn over twice, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So can you see it's now creating a nice straight edge? And I'm going to turn the corner with 2 chains, and then I'm going to make 3 more double treble stitches into the same space. So there's my little corner, and I'm now going to make 3 treble crochet in the next 3 spaces. So there's my next 3 sets of trebles and a corner. Remember that the corners are made of double treble stitches. Here's my next corner. So 3 more sets of 3 trebles in the next 3 spaces. And a corner made of double trebles. 3 trebles in each of the next 3 spaces. And I have 1 more space left, so I'm going to make a corner. So there's my last corner, and I'm going to finish this round by slip stitching under both loops of the first treble crochet. So that's round 4 complete. And then for round 5, I'm going to start with 2 chains, and this counts as our first treble, and I'm going to turn, and then this is a granny round in the same way as you did in the granny squares. So this is my first stitch, and I'm going to make 2 more treble crochets into that same space. And then I'm going to work my way around as I would for a regular granny square. So into the corner this time, I'm going to make 3 treble crochet, 2 chains and 3 treble crochet. So we're not doing the double trebles this time. It's 1, 2, 3, and 2 chains, and then 1, 2, 3, and I'm just going to carry on all the way around as I would a regular granny square round. I've sewn in the tails, and here is my finished present. From now on, this block is exactly the same as week 1. So what we've done is made a granny square, the same as we did in week 1, except this time it's got a lovely starburst in the middle. So you can finish this block in the same way as you did week 1. So add your bow, your background rows, and your edging rounds in exactly the same way. And here it is. I've added my background rows and my edging rounds in exactly the same way as the week 1 granny square block. And as always, the pattern will tell you which colour combinations to use to make the rest of your blocks. Thank you for joining me this week. Come back next week when we will be joining the blocks together, adding a border and making some fun tassels. See you next time.